get off the hook and we're going to move to pro football. How about that?
Oh shit, son.
Yeah, let's do that shit.
Week 8.
Week 8.
So technically, I know there's 17 weeks, but they only play 16 games. So
Right.
technically, this, in my opinion, is the middle of the season.
Yeah.
So what we did last time is the same thing we're going to do this time. We'll see if the answers have changed, but I'm not sure if they will.
Okay.
What is your biggest disappointment and biggest surprise to this point in the season?
My biggest disappointment is
besides your fantasy team. And that glamour shop shit you took at the mall. I bet you went to Piercing Pagoda to get some fucking earrings in too.
Can I tell you about my fantasy real quick before we do this?
Please do.
Okay. All right. This is great, George. You're gonna appreciate this. All right, guys. Everybody who watched the game, it was Pittsburgh and Houston. Okay. I'm tied up. He's got Antonio Brown still playing, and I've got Arian Foster. Okay. Now, so that's happening in fantasy. Okay. So in my football pool, I picked Houston to cover the spread, which was 3.5. And they're covering the spread at this point in time during the football game. They're covering the spread. Arian Foster's at the end of the half. All he has to do, they're down deep in their own territory. He fumbles the ball, which makes me lose 2 points in fantasy. Okay? Now, that also puts Pittsburgh in scoring position, right? Who throws the touchdown pass? Antonio Brown. So, simultaneously, I lose my fantasy football game, and Pittsburgh is now covering the spread, and I get fucking cornholed. That's why I don't bet. That's why I'm not a gambling man, people. Okay? But anyway, my biggest disappointment in the season so far would have to be the Seattle Seahawks. I'd have to say the Seattle Seahawks. Their defense has just looked like
shadowed themselves.
They shot themselves. They just do not look good. And let me tell you something. From here out, the Seattle Seahawks have disappointed me. And let me tell you something. Now they're having locker room issues. There's a few things. Obviously they shipped Percy Harvin out. There's a lot of things. Russell Wilson's not black enough. Who knows? Who gives a fuck? But you don't need these type of issues because if you look at the Seattle Seahawks, maybe George, do me a favor real quick and pull up the Seattle Seahawks schedule really quick from here out.
Okay. And right now they're sitting at 500. They're 3-3.
They're at 500. Okay.
Yeah. And they've lost 2 games in a row, and now they have to go at Carolina, which, to be honest, you don't know what Carolina team is going to show up.
And this is the thing. They're great at home, but they're going at Carolina. Now they're a West Coast team that has to go all the way across the country and play at Carolina. It's not an easy game. Then who do they play?
How'd that work out when they played the Redskins?
It's funny. It was a closer game than I thought against a sorry team. So then. Then
they get a chance to, as you would say, totally redeem themselves with playing Oakland.
Okay, Oakland. So
that'll be the game they get back on track, and then they play the Giants. So those 2 games back to back is where if they dip and they lose this third game, where they need to win 2.
Are they at the Giants?
No, these are back to back home games.
Okay,
and then they have to play at Kansas City, where
tough.
Yes. Then they play Arizona. They're not going to win that.
Mm-hmm.
At San Francisco.
Tough.
At Philly.
Tough.
At Arizona.
Tough.
At Philly, home versus San Fran, back to Arizona, and then home versus St. Louis.
Who just beat them. It's just
Sunday, November 16th, it starts the march of death for them. It does not get. They don't have an easy game, and I'm gonna tell you right now. And that section of their schedule, they can't slip up.
They can't slip up. And you got to remember, everybody, this Seattle is sitting at 500 right now. Okay,
4 division games.
Yeah, and we all know
5
the way
division
it looks
games.
like, it will be very hard. I do not see them winning their division this year. And you know what? That means they will not be playing playoff games at home. That does not look good.
5 out of their last 7 games are division games.
Yeah. They play. So they more than likely Seattle will not be playing home playoff games this year.
No.
And so that does not fare well for them. Now, my biggest surprise of the season thus far has definitely been the Dallas Cowboys, without a doubt. Shipping out Rob Ryan was the best thing they did, and bringing in Monty Kiffin and Marinelli. I mean, their defense with all these no-name people they're like the new no-name defense. You look at what shipping out DeMarcus Ware and then Sean Lee getting hurt, you would think that they were just going to be fucked. But they've turned it around. Their offensive line looks incredible. They're young. They're blocking great for DeMarco Murray. They have the best rushing game in DeMarco Murray in the league, and they have a good defense.
Great balance, and that's what they're talking about. Their pass to ratio, their passing to running ratio, almost 1-to-1.
Now whose tongue is fat?
At least you can understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, and it remotely sounds like English. That's Swahili shit you were speaking earlier. Son. You're a mind.
Get on the tongue elliptical.
Ain't a lot to read up here. Rolando McClain has made 24 tackles this season.
Yeah.
And he's got 2 interceptions. I mean, he's had from a guy who was retired 4 times to possibly maybe being a Pro Bowl player.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. 6.
6 what?
That's from 1 to 10. That's what that burp was. It was a little weird.
Oh, I'm sorry.
6. That's 6. Yeah, so that's been my biggest surprise. Now, let me turn it over to you. Who's your biggest disappointment and your biggest surprise this year?
Hold on, timeout.
Okay. Shh. Look, I just want everybody out there to know in Cameraland that George's wife flexed her bicep, right? And I realized that she runs the house because there's no way George could do shit. Because if you puts him in a fucking rear naked choke, that Bama is done.
You hear this bullshit?
That's if she doesn't get her hockey stick and fuck that Bama up. She gave me a ticket to the gun show, and I'm scared to go.
Had to do it.
Right, there you go.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I get biggest disappointment for me is the New Orleans Saints, because right now they're the New Orleans Aints.
Yeah,
they just don't look good. But you know what? The best thing for them, that sorry ass division they play in. They're sitting at 2-4 with a division record of 1-1. Mm-hmm. I mean, okay, Atlanta's 2-0 in the division, and Carolina's 1-0, and Carolina's right now leading at 3-3. New Orleans could still come back and win the division because that division. Sorry.
The crazy thing about the NFC South
is it sucks.
Atlanta, New Orleans, Carolina, and Tampa Bay have they're 29, 30, 31, and 32 in defense. Okay?
Well, here's the thing I don't understand. Last year we gave Atlanta a pass because Julio Jones was hurt for the whole season?
Right.
Roddy White couldn't find his ass with both hands.
Right.
I mean, the running game has been non-existent. They picked up Steven Jackson, which might quite possibly be one of the worst pickups in history.
Right. And that new kid is running good.
Dude, they're on a four game losing streak, and they had oh shit, dude, they played Detroit. Is that in London? Is that why it's at 9:30 a.m. on Sunday?
Really?
Yeah, that's the London game. That's just stupid. Can we stop playing games in fucking London?
I'm be psyched. I'm gonna get up and watch that shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah, 9:30 on Sunday.
What time do you get in? What time do you get in town? What time do you get in town? Oh, Sunday. That's right. Shit.
No, I'll be. My buddies play a 9 a.m. baseball game, so I want to stay on Sunday for a little while.
Right. Shit, man, we could be at the bar watching the game. Huh?
Dog, if a game starts at 9:30, that's just going to induce day drinking, like heavy day drinking. And day drinking is anything that happens before noon.
I knows. KNOWZ.
Okay.
Anyway, so
so that's my biggest disappointment. I would say my biggest disappointment goes out to the NFC South. You went from a division that had 3 teams vying, 3 teams that look strong, to they all suck.
Hey, George, take a guess. Who has the best defense in the NFC South? Out of New Orleans, Atlanta, Tampa, and Carolina, who has the best defense? Huh?
Detroit?
No. Out of the NFC South.
Detroit has the best defense.
We know that. But seriously, answer the question.
There isn't one. Huh? What are you going to go off of? Points allowed? Then it would be New Orleans.
New Orleans. Isn't that crazy? As terrible as their shit is.
Tampa Bay has given up 204 points. So if you have somebody to start in fantasy, make sure they're playing Tampa.
Right.
And they stink. Now, my biggest surprise, and this is going to flip-flop, is how horrible – well, let me rephrase that. Just how bad the Redskins are this season. They've done what they've done every year. They go get at least one high-profile free agent. They get Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah.
Deshaun Jackson's putting up great points in our fantasy league.
Yeah.
Brian Arakpo can't stay healthy. It's time to let him go.
He cannot stay healthy.
Kirk Cousins looked great at the beginning of the season when you probably could have traded him for a second-round pick. Now you couldn't trade him for a fucking pair of cleats and a bottle of water.
And that's the bottom line. That's what happens in NFL, George, is that these players, people get all hyped up about players when they're coming in as backups. Just like with Seattle's defense. These players were not playing every snap. It's different. It's different. You know, and Kirk Cousins took every snap. Now everybody's getting high on Colt McCoy. I'm like, come the fuck on, man. There's a reason Colt McCoy has been at 45 teams in the last 3 months.
Yeah. You guys got to remember, he used to start for the Cleveland Browns. He's one of those. Have you ever seen the picture in the department store of the mannequin wearing the Browns jersey, and it's just got the long list of everyone who's played quarterback for him? Mm-hmm. He's on that list. Like, Colt McCoy, like, is no different than Kirk Cousins. They're going to be backups. They're good off the bench. And the other thing,
and the bottom line is this, George. It's just like they say with Kirk Cousins. Nobody knows anything on this because they have yet to see him play. Once defenses start looking at them, see tape on them, it changes, just like it did with Kirk Cousins. You know,
So that, to me, that's my biggest disappointment. I expected more out of Washington, but I'm also with you. Dallas is surprising. Detroit's learned how to play defense. That's surprising, and that's scary because they're winning games without Calvin Johnson.
I know, because I got Matt Stafford in fantasy, and that's all that matters, Ramon. Anyway.
So, I mean, I think it's going to be fun. These next 8 weeks, 9 weeks, it's going to be entertaining because I think every week's going to count.
Do you know
this is the other thing. This is the first time I think we've been at this part of the season, and there's no undefeated teams.
Yeah. I mean, and it happened fast. The Miami Dolphins' 1972 record was safe.
They were popping bottles in like the third
or fourth week.
Any
upsets you picked this
motherfucker?
You know, the last time we filmed and I picked the upsets. You know, I nailed those motherfuckers.
I don't even remember the last time we filmed.
Who do you got? You think Philly can go into Arizona and do it?
No.
Let me tell you something. Buffalo, the Jets.
What's the spread and where's the game?
The game is in. I think Buffalo's 1.5 favorite. It's in New York.
Buffalo's gonna win. I take Buffalo straight up.
Chicago going to New England. Who do you got? You think they can cover spread? New England's 7.5 point spread right now.
Yeah, because Chicago is imploding. Now, the scary thing about that one, though, is Brandon Marshall goes off, and you'd have to look, because this isn't the first time. You have to see how Jay Cutler's bounced back when he's gotten bitched out, because he totally got fucking reamed out. That's another disappointing team. 3-4, tons of weapons, and they can't get. It's time for Jay Cutler to get out of Chicago.
Yeah, yeah.
They've allowed 171 points, which is the most points in the NFC North. Their defense is whack. And Tom Brady is like, all right, look, I told y'all to calm down because we're going to score at will. And I bet Chicago loses by 2 touchdowns.
So you think they're going to lose by 2 touchdowns? Hold on a second. Let me see something. Let me pull this. Okay. Let me go to the next one. Okay. So San Diego visiting Denver. Denver is, they're about a 7.5 point spread right now. I mean, it depends.
To me, dude, straight up, that's a push game. I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't bet it. But if I had to pick it, I'd take Denver.
Would you? Yeah.
I'd take
Denver to win. I don't know if they're going to cover the spread.
Right. I'd take Denver and lay the points if I have to.
Now, this is an interesting one, okay? Detroit is going to Atlanta, and they got about a 3.5 point spread right now.
Yeah, but that game's in London, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
That's I'd have to look how other teams have done in London, but I'm gonna tell you right now, with the way that fucking Atlanta's playing, they couldn't beat me and you and 9 people from our board.
Yeah, and it also matters if Megatron's going to be in the lineup or not.
I don't think it matters at all.
Yeah, that's true.
I think they're just gonna line up and punch Atlanta in the face. And Matt Ryan no quarterback completes a pass from his back.
Right. Now, 2 terrible teams are meeting each other. Minnesota is going to be traveling to Tampa Bay. Right now, Tampa Bay is the favorite by like 2.5. It's moving around. Huh?
I said, wow.
And you know why? Now,
Teddy Shitwater's playing?
Oh, man,
Bridgewater?
Yeah. Now he's going to be playing against one of the worst defenses in the league, which is so surprising seeing their coach.
Who's he going to throw the ball to?
Huh?
Who's he throwing the ball to?
The other team.
Because he's got no name a receiver on Minnesota.
I'll name them all. They're all the secondary. They're the starting secondary for Tampa Bay.
And they'll probably drop the ball.
Right. Okay, St. Louis traveling.
I'm going to tell you what, right now, if LeBron James just doesn't shave his fucking head, he's soon going to have to wear a helmet. This motherfucker's headband keeps getting thicker and thick. Like, just shave the shit off and go bald.
Motherfucker's saluting people like this.
Exactly.
It's fucked up.
Playing Memphis.
St. Louis is going to Kansas City. Kansas City is almost a 7-point favorite.
St. Louis can't score.
Yeah, and the problem is all their bag of tricks they showed them last week. So,
but see, here's my thing. To me, that wasn't tricks.
Right.
And the reason I say that,
but dude, The fucking punt where they all went one way. That shit was fucking bad.
That's because they got outcoached. Jeff Fisher outcoached them because he sat there and he watched enough film to watch the Seattle players and knew they were going to go to Tavon Austin. Right. Not one Tyrone looked up for the ball. No one saw it. You know what Seattle's doing this week on punt coverage? I bet the entire sideline is going to be yelling, screaming.
Yeah.
What side of the field the ball is going to. That was absolutely embarrassing. But that motherfucker sacked up on that fake punt.
Yeah.
But so to me, the punt wasn't a trick play. That was you got outcoached, and he outcoached him on the fake punt.
Right.
Like Jeff Fisher's a bad motherfucker because he won that game with the Bad News Bears.
And he, you know what? He wins all his games with the Bad News Bears. He's never had a tremendous amount of talent on any of his squads. Miami traveling to Jacksonville. They're favored by 6. Well, really, they're favored by 4.5. But Vegas has them higher right now.
And my thing is, are we really going to go over every game if the sound's off?
All right, guys. Hey, you know what? We don't know if the sound's going to be good for this. So, you know what? If it's good, then we'll go over all the games next week. How about that? You got a good point, Shorty. Because you know motherfuckers will be mad as shit. On that note, adios deuces, bitches.
See you.